So let's set the table once again. Erin Blanchfield, number 2, women's flyweight division. Manon Fiorot, number 3, women's flyweight division. Winner take all to fight for the belt. And this fight is just seconds away from getting started. And here we go. It's on. And we're ready for 25 minutes, should it go that far. But hopefully we can get fireworks, because it's been fireworks all night. And these two don't give you the idea that they're necessarily in it for a decision. Crowd chanting USA very loudly, as you'd expect in America, especially New Jersey. First 30 seconds gone. And there's no introduction to this fight in terms of a slow pace at the beginning. It's already 7-3 Fiorot, who's kind of just tapping at Blanchfield with the jab. And they're both so tough. It's like, okay, if one of them's going to fall, it's likely by decision. It's hard to see one of these two getting finished because they're such tough outs, and that's why they've won 6 straight. Both of them. Both are undefeated in the UFC. Forget the one loss. Oh, when Fiorot gets into Blanchfield and takes her down very easily. Oh, and now Fiorot's stuck. Blanchfield's got the guillotine from the ground. And then Fiorot kind of spins, and she's still stuck in it, trying to fight the hands now, but Erin Blanchfield stands her up. And boy, Fiorot got the takedown, but she ended up in a bad position. Look at this. And Blanchfield's trying to go for the finish. The crowd's loving it. They're getting pumped up. And Fiorot's trying to pull away. If Blanchfield can get it locked in, Fiorot's shaking her head saying, no, I'm good. And a tough moment right now for Fiorot. I just can't see Blanchfield holding on to this that long, but she's got the legs tied up, and now she lets that go. And USA chants her back. And Fiorot's trying to pull out of it. She can't. And she finally does. And a tough moment there for Fiorot, who looked good for a second and just wound up in a bad position. 2:50 left in round 1. And Blanchfield lands a big elbow on the way out. And you look at Blanchfield and you're like, I don't see a championship type fighter here, but she's so tough, man. And Fiorot lands up right and the left. And Fiorot definitely has a reach advantage. She's standing left-handed. Blanchfield standing right. And Blanchfield's got that kickboxing style where she likes to bring that lead leg up, even if she's not going to use it. Kind of lets her opponent know that it can be used at any time. Tough thing for Blanchfield is every time she comes in, she's taking strikes. Fiorot's got the reach advantage and the height. She's punching downward. And she leads 21-13 in significant strikes. Blanchfield clinches her up. Fiorot swings out of it. 1:15 left in round 1. And kind of at a pause there, because I'm just thinking, like, Blanchfield might need to go in for another, even though she didn't get the takedown, might need some clinch time here. Because on the feet, it just seems like Fiorot's got the advantage. She's landing first. Blanchfield's got to be calculated, and when she comes in, see, she takes a right and a left. And Fiorot just looking very comfortable in the stand-up. Head strikes 23-13 for Fiorot. Ooh, some big shots by Blanchfield taken by Fiorot. Now both fighters clinched up. Fiorot spins her around. She got Blanchfield backed up against the fence. But the trick here is that Blanchfield is shorter and lower to the ground. And that tends to be an advantage in these situations because you're already, for leverage purposes, trying to get low to prevent your opponent from moving you. And Blanchfield has a 3-inch advantage in the clinch because she's shorter. And that'll do it for round 1. And even though you had a submission attempt there for Blanchfield, she wasn't able to finish it. Fiorot's out of trouble in about 45 seconds. And the rest of the round, she won on the feet. So you got to give that one to Fiorot. So you might as well just, boom, check it off. Manon Fiorot won round 1. She's up 30-23 in significant strikes, but it's really the head strikes, 25-17. That gives it that round. Boom. You see the takedown, and Fiorot's immediately stuck for about 45 seconds via the guillotine. And that might be enough for Fiorot to say, you know what? I don't know what I was thinking. Why am I going for a takedown when I'm dominating on the feet? And that's probably what her corner is telling her. Don't get caught in bad positions. Round 2 underway. Blanchfield backs her up with a lead leg kick. Remember, that lead leg is just bouncing up and down with the knee out in front, especially when they get set. Not when they're moving side to side, but when they get set, Blanchfield is lifting that knee, and now she lands a right leg kick up top. Blanchfield starting out more aggressive here. That's what she's got to do. She's got to be the first one to land, which isn't easy. Oh, and Blanchfield gets a takedown. Fiorot flips it. Oh, when they get back to their feet. I was going to say that's where Fiorot might want to be, is when she's on top, posturing up. But Blanchfield is so quick, such a problem on the ground. And Fiorot just says, like her corner should have told her, stay on the feet if you can at all times. Now Blanchfield looking to get a takedown. She's got the arms locked around. But Manon Fiorot is not going to let it happen again. And they swing out of it. 90 seconds gone, round 2. And that advantage that Manon had in the first round, with the keeping the distance, the jabs, combinations, looking great on the feet. It just seems like she's slowing down a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit. But it's enough for Erin Blanchfield to get in there without worrying about being hit every time she comes in. And they clinch up again. And they swing out of it again. And now it just seems like we're going to see a close fight for as long as this fight goes. Now all of a sudden Erin's coming in and she's taking punches again. So Manon's starting to feel better on the feet here in round 2, midway through. And as this fight goes on, how will the stamina of both fighters, not really used to being in this position, right, against an equal opponent and having to go 5 rounds? Because number one, when your opponent's equal, you're going to expend a lot more energy than if you're just grinding out a victory against somebody. And the pace is fast. I mean, Manon Fiorot is going to be over 50 significant strikes. Blanchfield will probably approach 50 by the end of the round. And they're just moving and striking at a rapid pace. They've thrown over 235 significant strikes combined. Of course, they only landed like 80 of those, about 33%, but they're throwing. And if you're Fiorot now, you want to be throwing every 3 to 4 seconds. Don't allow Blanchfield to get you into clinch, attempt to take down, nothing like that. Every time you tap her, Blanchfield has to back off. Because there's a point, clearly, where Blanchfield enters the space of Fiorot where she's going to take punches, but her reach isn't long enough to land them. So Fiorot has about a foot of space advantage there. Then when Blanchfield comes in, you got to tap, tap, tap. Big leg kick missed by Fiorot. Final 20 seconds, round 2. And I'd lean towards Blanchfield in round 2. Big right by Fiorot, making it difficult. And a leg kick and another right by Fiorot. And this round comes to an end. So pretty even round. So 1 round for Fiorot. Round 2, excuse me. Hey, we're in the wee hours of the night, man. They got to have these late UFCs because of the NCAA or college basketball. It is what it is. But we're digging into the wee hours of the night. Now it's 1:06 a.m. Gotta love it. Round 3 is on deck. Fiorot leads 57-49 in significant strikes. Head strikes 45-32 for Fiorot. So Fiorot is leading this fight in terms of the numbers. It really just comes down to how the judges view round 2. And I think if it's close, they may lean towards Blanchfield. Because this doesn't seem like a fight where someone's up 2 rounds to none. And we're still at a time when both fighters are still feeling comfortable. It's round 3. I mean, every fight's a 3-round fight. It's rounds 4 and 5 that will get very interesting should it go that far. And a quick start to round 3 as you'd expect. And both fighters really comfortable in the stand-up game. I mean, despite Fiorot having the reach advantage, and it just seems like she's landing more in certain occasions. She's only up by 3 significant strikes. I mean, it's virtually even. Blanchfield comes in for the takedown. She gets thrown to the side. And it's kind of the same thing over and over again. I mean, Blanchfield's coming in with that front leg up in the air, kind of bouncing like she's going to use it. And then when she does come in close enough, boom, she gets hit with a jab by Fiorot. And then sometimes she lands too. Or sometimes she gets hit with a jab and she backs off. But still managing to keep this fight within reach, very close. But 52-40 head strikes for Fiorot. And that's been the difference so far. Blanchfield right now just needs something to happen. She needs a big punch, leg kick, something to just turn this her way and get the crowd into it. That's what you need. You got the home, you're fighting out of New Jersey. You're in New Jersey right now in a main event. And the crowd is not behind Erin Blanchfield. Not because they don't want to be. There's just no reason to be right now. 68-63 Fiorot in significant strikes. 56-42 head strikes, though. midway through the fight, 2:30 left in round 3, and if you're Blanchfield, the time is now. You got to get going. Because you don't know. You definitely lost round 1. You don't know about round 2 because that's a coin flip either way. You cannot afford to lose round 3. I mean, hopefully your coach has told her that. Even if it's 1-1, you still can't afford to lose round 3. But you just got to be some uncertainty to say, hey, we might be down 2-0. We really can't afford to lose this round. And because you don't know, you got to expend a little more energy. But Fiorot's still doing a good job on the outside. Landing jabs every time Blanchfield comes in. And you're starting to see the wear and tear a little bit on Blanchfield. And the crowd's kind of quiet. No excitement right now. You got some whistles and individual yells and screams. But no collective group chanting USA anymore. Really getting behind Blanchfield. She's gonna need something to swing the momentum in her direction. And just a highly interesting fight because Blanchfield has fought so well already. But you just got to keep in mind that she's only 24 years old. Right? They both had about the same amount of fights, but Fiorot is 34. And she's right at that prime of her strength. Like, the time is now for her. Blanchfield will be here 4 years from now. One would think. Manon beginning to pull away again. Insignificant strikes now 81-68. Where Blanchfield was kind of closing the gap. Fiorot looked really good here in round 3. There's the tap. And I think Blanchfield's in big trouble, and I think our main event losing streak is going to continue if something doesn't change. And man, I'm starting to think about 4-7. That just caused me to, that'd just be terrible for us. 4-7 on the year. And I'm not going to go into the last 3 years' records, right? Because we've done that several times. Like, the records were ridiculous. And now all of a sudden, we're 4-6. 4-6. It's ridiculous, man. Let me jump into the live stream. See who's weighing in. Rusty Maverick. I was watching MMA Guru, but switch to your live stream. You are much better at commentating, dude. Great job. Well, that's an easy matchup. You know, MMA Guru is good at some things, but I'll definitely give myself the credit on the commentating part. Vincent is a contender. Top 5 most variables in sports, says Anderson Tyrell. Hamza versus Whitaker. Sensing a decision. Very heavy matchup. Yeah. Rob New Chin, he may destroy Hamza. So you got all that going on. We'll get into that later. Don't worry about it. Because you know we highly disagree. Hamza beats everybody, baby. Come on. Round 4 underway. Manon starts it out with a combination. And if you're coaching Manon, it's easy. You just keep doing what you're doing. Have a countdown in your head. Every time you land, within 4 seconds, you got to land again. And you win this fight. Erin's starting to look like she needs to be more aggressive, which is she does. Her coaches should be telling her in between rounds 3 and 4 before this round that you got to get in there and start fighting. I mean, you got to make this, you got to be in the telephone booth, in the pocket, trading. You can't, the in and out is not working because Manon's going to catch her every time she comes in. And now Blanchfield's being more aggressive. You're starting to see it. She's picking up. And she's landed a few shots here in succession. She's got Manon Fiorot running a little bit. Fiorot tries to tie up. She can't. And this is enough to get the crowd back into it a little bit. Little momentum swing. And here we go. And who's to say Manon doesn't get tired, right? You got to keep the pressure on. And you're starting to see that from Blanchfield. It was like, let me pick my point. I'm being aggressive, but let me get in and get out. But the problem is every time you go to get in the pocket with Fiorot, you're taking jabs. You're taking combinations. Like, you can't keep doing that. You just got to make a decision. Hey, I'm going to get in there. I'm going to go ahead and take my lick on the way in, and then we're going to be swinging on the inside. Because if I go back out, then I got to take another punch on the way in. And Fiorot attempts to pick up Blanchfield and just shoves her off. It's like, forget about it. Didn't work good last time. And Blanchfield definitely trying to keep the pressure on, chasing Manon Fiorot through round 4 so far. You're starting to see the sense of urgency pick up. And even with even if Blanchfield won round 4 and 5, it would then come down to round 2, which was so close that who knows how this fight would turn out, because Blanchfield could be down 3-0 right now, easily. So I think I'm telling Erin, like, in the corner as her coach, it's getting to the point where you may need a finish. And when we made this pick for Blanchfield, we didn't know that she was fighting in front of the home crowd, because you got a 2 versus 3. You think it's going to be sort of more neutral, but instead they give Blanchfield the opportunity to fight in New Jersey. That if Fiorot wins this fight, she's a legitimate title contender, which she already is, but she's fighting for the title. She wins this fight and would deserve it, because it's like you're literally going on the road to get a win over one of the best in the division, not named Shevchenko, and obviously champion Grasso. And it's probably good if you're Manon Fiorot, right? You don't have to fight Shevchenko. You get to go right to Grasso. And to me, that's a better matchup. But I'm not giving up on Blanchfield yet. Plenty of time left in this fight, 5.5 minutes. Final 30 seconds of round 4. And as I told you, we're prepared. I've already mentally prepared myself before this fight that it's going to go 5 rounds. And that seems to be what it's looking like. Final 15 seconds, round 4. Blanchfield lands a nice right, but still in and out, and taking punches on the way in. So Fiorot continues to pull away, 127 to 104 in significant strikes. It's amazing. Both fighters over 100, putting on a show. Head strikes even worse, 103 to 70. So, all right, let's see what the corner's saying. Tell her you need to finish. Yeah, some basic instructions, but you got to tell Erin, hey, this is the reality of the situation. Because sometimes in fighters' heads, in a situation like this, Erin's probably thinking, like, I'm close and I might even be winning. And that's where the coach has got to come in and say, no, you're not. You're down 3-1. And maybe her corner did tell her that, because we couldn't hear everything. But you got to be real with Erin Blanchfield. You need a finish, and we need you to get a finish before we fall to 4-7. Not cool. Not cool, man. Blanchfield with a stiff jab. And lands a leg kick. And that throws off Fiorot momentarily, but, it just goes right back to Blanchfield got a battle to get into position. In order for her to get within striking distance, she's got to take a punch. So it's just a very tough fight for her right now. And when you look at these stats later, you're going to see maybe a minute of control time out of 25 potential minutes in this fight. You're going to see both fighters over 100 significant strikes. Maybe over 100 head strikes apiece. Right now it's 110 to 80. Blanchfield slips, she gets back up. 110 gone in round 5, final round. The area where Blanchfield is leading is in body strikes, and that's not going to do anything on the judges' scorecards. And every second that clock moves down, it's advantage Fiorot. And if Blanchfield is in the fight, if it is close and she squeaks out round 5 and ends up getting a victory, I mean, she's going to win this fight getting dominated in 2 different rounds and winning 3 that are very, very close rounds. And although possible, that's not probable. It just seems to me like one of the judges, or maybe 2, are going to give Fiorot one of those other rounds. And Fiorot probably has a 90% chance to win right now. 2:30 left, final round. And during this losing streak or debacle that has been this year's main event for us in terms of picks, they just haven't been easy. I mean, there's been fights that have just gone to decisions. Even in one fight, our fighter dominated for 2 rounds, and it just fell apart in rounds 3, 4, and 5. Like, you just don't know how these things are going to turn out. And Fiorot continues to maintain a 20 strike lead on Blanchfield. Right now it's 154, 155 to 131 as this clock trickles down. 127 to 88 in head strikes. And Erin's still landing. She's going to need something big here. 120 left, round 5. And there's an aspect of being a fighter that in your mind, you're not losing. Even if everyone else can watch the fight and see, hey, you're losing this fight. In a fighter's head, they're in it, man. They're in a fight. They don't think they're necessarily losing, even if the coach tells them so. Now Manon just holding on, back against the fence. Now they break free. Manon with a flying knee nearly connects. Blanchfield coming in. She takes a right. Now a leg kick. And man, Manon's just going to cruise to victory here, I guess. Dang. Blanchfield can't do a darn thing about it. Now they're swinging down the stretch. Final 5 seconds. Both fighters landing a left. Blanchfield with a combination at the bell. And that'll do it. Both fighters putting their hands up, but Manon Fiorot going to the ground, and she knows I'm fighting for a title. And she's got a legitimate chance to win. It wasn't pretty, but it was a tough fighter. As we await the decision now, 164 to 140 for Fiorot in significant strikes, 134 to 97 in head strikes. She only trailed in body strikes, 31-19. So, and it just seemed to me that there's for sure 2 rounds that Manon Fiorot easily won. Like, it's not a question. The only way Blanchfield wins this fight is if the refs just say, hey, you won rounds 2, 3, and 5. And we need to see the numbers round by round. I wish they would put those up. We haven't seen those yet. I should have been tracking it myself. But Fiorot took a lead in round 1. They kind of came back closer in terms of the striking in round 2. And then Fiorot just continued to separate herself the rest of the way. Yep, so head strikes, 134 to 97. Distance strike accuracy, Fiorot 40%, Blanchfield 27. And that was the difference of the fight, really. That distance. It's going to be unanimous. 50 to 45, not even close, man. Not even close. Manon Fiorot gets the win. And we lose again. We lose again. Not even close. 5-0. Incredible. 15-0 when you look at all 3 or combine all 3 judges' scorecards. Blanchfield didn't even get a round. Even more of a reason for her corner to be telling her you need to finish. But it didn't happen. Manon Fiorot gets the win. She's going to move to 12-1. Here in the women's flyweight division, in line to fight for the title against Alexa Grasso. More on that. This fight went down. UFC Atlantic City.